out the weak from who you've been. Can you win this war you're in? Is your point laborious, or will you rise victorious? Oh, take it or break it. Take it or break it. Take it or break it. Earn your throne.
Welcome to a Sock and Talker edition of Take It or Break It, the Sports Takes game show, your dreams, your nightmares. I'm your host, Corbin Smith. We got a lot to get to, so we're just gonna fucking plow into it. Let's meet today's contestants: a writer and a roller coaster enthusiast, and the host of Locked On Seahawks. It's Spike Friedman. Spike, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Am I going to Disney's California Adventure this Friday to report on the Incredicoaster? Yeah, I am. Okay,
Oh my god!
So
who are you writing about it for?
I just paced. I just pitched Shane. I was like, let me write about the politics of storytelling on roller coasters. And he's like, I'm not going to pay you very much for that. And I was like, yeah, but I'm going to get into Disneyland, baby. Worth every word.
Hell yeah. You gonna take in any other coasters while you're there?
No, I'll probably, coasters, maybe. I mean, it's Disneyland, so dark rides. Yeah. I've never been on the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Oh, yeah.
Soarin'. I've never been on Soarin'.
You've never been on Soarin'? I'm surprised.
I know. I've never been to Disney's California Adventure, which is crazy. So, guys, thrilled.
And our second guest is a writer and editor over at The Shocker, and a freelance writer. You can just pay her and she'll write something for you. It's Emily Lever.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
I'm saying your name correctly, Emily Lever?
Yes.
Cool.
Bonjour. Hello.
I would never mispronounce a name on this show, of course. Thank you for joining us. It's time to get to the gristle, but first we have to spell out the rules. Take It or Break It is a game where we discuss topics. A not bad take is worth 1 or 2 points. An actually good take is worth 3 points. A scorching hot take is worth 5 points. But beware, a garbage take will be worth -3 points. Now, we are talking almost exclusively about the World Cup today, which means I don't really know much. You know, I watch sometimes I don't. I don't really keep up with soccer so much. So you guys could honestly make shit up in this one, and I would probably still give you points. So just try to keep that in mind, okay?
Oh, that's at the top of my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed.
And, all right. Are we all understood?
We are.
Good. Question 1.
Yeah.
Question 1. Look, I'm not going to lie. I got started writing this episode a little later than I meant to, but here we are talking about the World Cup. Your group leaders, as it stands during this record, are Uruguay, Spain, France, Croatia, Brazil, and God's team, the mighty El Tri, the Republic of Mexico, baby! Ow, ow, ow! These leaders seem powerful and mighty right now, but soccer is fickle. An embarrassing failure awaits some team or another who feels themselves standing on the precipice of glorious success. And so, who is a fraud? Who will die at soonest convenience, and what deficit in their moral character will destroy them when the time comes? Friedman, you first.
Well, so you didn't name a couple of the group leaders, Jesus. England and Japan.
I didn't?
Yeah, they're up there. Well,
my bad.
They're actually both...
My bad.
Hey.
I stopped scrolling.
Hey, when you get to Mexico, why keep scrolling?
That's fucking you're goddamn right. America's team, baby. El Tri.
Yeah, that's it. You keep scrolling, you end up in Honduras, and you get fouled on the pitch. It's a nightmare. If I have to pick which team's moral fiber amongst those group leaders is likely to let them down in the next round, I've got to go. I'm gonna take the low-hanging fruit here. I have a weird feeling France is going to lose to Argentina, but we'll get to that later. But I don't think that's moral fiber. I think what we've got right now is Luis Suarez against Cristiano Ronaldo in the World Cup next round. And I just feel like we're due for some Suarez nonsense. As a longtime Liverpool supporter, I believe Emily and I are both Liverpool supporters.
Yes, we both are.
Yeah. So Suarez has a way of, just when you think he's not going to do something terrible, doing something terrible. And Uruguay, even, they played pretty well thus far. They've obviously won all 3 matches, taken all 9 points. Didn't look particularly convincing throughout. They almost drew against an Egypt team missing Mohamed Salah, so that wasn't great. But Suarez looked real good against Russia. But I just feel like against Portugal, you've got Pepe in the center of defense. You've got Cristiano Ronaldo. You got that Real
the
Madrid
racist frog.
Yeah, which Luis Suarez, I thought for a second you were describing Luis Suarez as the racist frog. And I was like, I guess that's fair.
Even I, the world's biggest soccer dumbass, know that Luis Suarez is racist.
Yeah, so I think something is going to happen there that is going to derail an otherwise ready-to-beat Portugal-Uruguay team, and Portugal is going to be able somehow to squeak by here. So if we're talking purely moral fiber amongst the group leaders, I think it's Uruguay who is most vulnerable in the round of 16.
That's a 3-point take. Not bad. Emily, who doesn't have it in him?
Well, I know that France is low-hanging fruit, but because I am French and I can, come at them, I can, get at their soft underbelly because I have, all this experience and all this intimate knowledge. So, yeah, I think even if France is maybe, not going to lose to Argentina because Argentina is in a shambles, I think France is going to fuck up at some point. And it's just because they just don't have the coherence that you would expect of this team, as it stands on paper. I mean, obviously they have some great standouts. They have N'Golo Kante, they have Pogba, but okay, here's the real problem. So Deschamps, their coach, has really tried to make Griezmann happen. Griezmann, a racist, he's also a racist frog, I guess.
100%.
Why are a lot of racists over in soccer, guys?
Yeah, I mean, if for anyone who doesn't know, he literally did blackface. So, also, another one of their players, Lucas Hernandez, has a domestic violence conviction. He's a dual national of France and Spain, and Spain did not pick him for their national team because of his DV conviction. But France was like, we'll let you rock. So, just on a karmic level, they deserve to choke. But also, Deschamps is really trying to make Griezmann happen as I think as someone who follows non-soccer sports, Corbin, you can appreciate this. This is really an example of white quarterback syndrome.
Yes.
England also has it too with Harry Kane. So yeah, even though soccer is not football, it's not American football, it still has white quarterback syndrome, and that is going to bite them in the ass because Griezmann is not as strong of a link as people think he is. He's kind of overhyped. I mean, he made a whole documentary about his decision to maybe go to Barcelona, but actually stayed at Atletico Madrid. He's just a dumbass. He has no leadership qualities. And Deschamps has managed to suppress all of the personality of this team, anything that could make them worth watching. He doesn't let them say a goddamn thing in interviews. And so, there's nothing enjoyable about them off the pitch or on. And I just think they both will choke and they deserve to choke. They don't really, as they are right now, they don't deserve this.
Emily, that was unbelievably spicy. That's a 5-point take.
Thank you.
I just have heat in my mouth right now. There's so much, you've just done you did everything you possibly could to convince me that their moral inferiority will destroy them. I just thank you so much.
I do it out of love for my country.
Yeah, please. You kill because you kill for honor.
Yeah. Serving my motherland.
Spike, are you okay with the fact that somebody got a 5-point take?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was 100% right on. I mean, without even dragging Pogba into it, which 100%. France is a nightmare, and I think they're going to lose to Argentina. I think
that's pretty strong.
I think it's going to happen. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun here,
right,
but
well, guess what? You happen to have fired the gun at the perfect time because we are at our second question.
Classic gun.
Argentina made it to the knockout after just sucking the whole tournament. What the fuck? How stupid is that? Why do Messi's torments continue? The man just wants to go home and be with his family. And why was Maradona so fucking happy? Emily.
Okay,
What
Maradona's
the fuck?
was so fucking happy because he was on cocaine, allegedly.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know, not clear. This is not cleared by legal. I think this is an example of failing upwards. I think Argentina are just like a bunch of fail sons who have somehow stumbled ass first into a victory, and that is because of a shitty ref call ultimately. That, Nigeria should have gotten a penalty. And if I were inclined to conspiracy theories, which I am, I would say that maybe, FIFA wants Argentina to advance because Messi is good for ratings. And so,
Damn.
it kind of didn't matter what was going to happen. Like, the refs were going to make sure that Argentina advanced. I don't know. It's possible. Seems like VAR has kind of, like, worked a lot in favor of, like, the big teams, like the great white teams. And so it's a little fishy. It's a little fishy, and it's very dissatisfying.
Wow. Conspiracies. Love it. 3 points.
Thank you.
Spike, what the fuck?
See, I don't think there were conspiracies. I think Argentina has moral fiber, and I'm going to get into it. But first of all, Victor Moses was given or scored on a penalty where Javier Mascherano did what happens on every corner kick in the history of football and was called for a penalty. They reviewed it via VAR and kept it. And I'm like, after that happened, I feel like it was a little bit of a make-up non-penalty on the second one because that first penalty was like 40% of a penalty. Look, if we're following the letter of the law, sure, yeah, penalty, but like the spirit of the law, I don't know. But let's get into Argentina for 1 second, and I want to stick with Javier Mascherano right now. We all remember in 2014 when Javier Mascherano on a slide tackle ripped open his anus on the field at the World Cup in order to ensure that Argentina made the finals.
We do.
Of course, we all remember that.
Yeah. Well, in this match, he got kicked in the face and was bleeding from the face profusely. There was a huge gash down his face, bigger than his torn anus from 2014. And I'm saying that if Mascherano bleeds, Argentina wins. And after this match, Argentina has turned it around. We got Messi on the score sheet. We've got wild comeback.
We've got Messi in this guy's asshole.
We've got Messi in the asshole. We've got Mascherano blood on the field. Argentina made it through to make the blood sacrifice commence. And now that they're through, I don't know that they're going to be stopped. I think Argentina will beat France. I don't know if they win after that, but I think they beat France. And so for me, this Argentina team, yes, powered by cocaine and also powered by blood. For me, Argentina made it through out of their own skill and will.
Are you saying they left it all on the field?
I'm saying that maybe not all, but Mascherano left a little bit of himself, a little bit of that DNA on that field, which is, I think, very important.
Spike, the only thing, take it or break it, likes more than hating Jerry West is the shedding of blood in service of victory. That's a 5-point take, Spike.
Woo! Yeah. Oh, man, thank you. Look, when a man bleeds after 4 years to the day after ripping open his anus, or to the week, I guess.
The day, the week, whatever. It's soccer, you exaggerate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, what would Maradona would say it was to the second.
To what?
To the second? I don't know. He'd exaggerate it.
Oh, he's prone to hyperbole, Maradona.
Yes, that was
probably, and look, I don't want to speculate too much, probably because he enjoys cocaine so much.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Or is it even alleged? Hasn't he been in legal trouble for this?
There's video of him doing cocaine on the field after scoring a penalty.
Whoa.
Where was he keeping it? Wait, can we just...
No, like a guy in like a turquoise polo shirt runs onto the field to give him cocaine to snort after he scores a penalty. This was in Cabo. I can find the link for you guys. But yeah, 100%. There is video on YouTube. I watched it today of him doing cocaine on the field. So Here we go. I'm gonna chat it to you guys, and you can watch it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This is great.
Thank you.
Hold on. It happens at about the. Oh boy, this is really good podcast material. It happens at about the 1 minute and 12-second mark of what I'm about to send you guys. I don't know how to say. Oh, here we go. Coming in. You guys excited?
Oh, more than anything.
The title of the video is Maradona Sniffs Greatness. And at 1:12, take a look at the guy in the pale blue polo who comes on.
All right, here we go. We're at a 112 here. I wonder if I can change this output real quick so we can.
Oh wait, maybe it's a little. Oh, maybe I missed it. Oh no, you got to go back a little further.
Oh, I'm sorry,
guys. Sorry, guys.
All right.
What? Like 56 seconds. Start at 56.
Okay, 56 seconds. We're gonna watch this. Okay. All right. So there's a fella in a blue shirt. And yeah, he appears to pass something to Maradona.
That is a baggie of cocaine that he puts into Maradona's nose for him to snort directly out.
What a champ. What a champ. The NBA, you can't get that from the NBA, people. All right, well, always fun to talk about Maradona doing blow. Emily, do you have any opinions about cocaine?
I feel like I would not personally do it, not because, you don't
want to feel invincible.
To do drugs, but because of the supply chain through which it gets to consumers.
It is it is a pretty hideous drug morals wise.
Yeah. There are there's a whole subset of vegans who do cocaine, and I'm just you can't be vegan if you do cocaine. That's just not. I mean, honestly, how dare you? Anyway,
Emily, are you a vegan?
I used to be. I'm a vegetarian. That's it. But
me too.
But yeah, cocaine, not vegan. I'm gonna just make a pronouncement right now.
Yeah, you can't do it if you're a vegan. What about vegetarian?
I don't know. Well, it's just, given the human bloodshed over cocaine, I think probably you can't. It's not vegetarian either. Probably. So
Spike, of course, loves cocaine. Question 3.
Yeah, I love uppers. That's my profile. Everybody knows I love to be awake.
Argentina made the knockout round, but another team, Egypt, did not. And as a result, Chris Jones, a sports writer, all caps, magazine profiles, the kind of guy who doesn't use Twitter because the atmosphere is just too toxic, wrote a thing about Mohamed Salah, an excellent young Egyptian player, saying that he should get sold by his EPL team. What's his EPL team again?
It's Liverpool, Corbin.
Yeah, whatever. Because, he is an asset that is too hot to touch. He literally says that at one point, that he is such a hot asset that if he were existing in any other economy, he would get shipped out. It's very bizarre.
I mean, he's a hot asset, all right. But okay, sorry.
I don't fucking know.
I'll let you get back to it.
Anyway, here are several excerpts from God's bastard sport writer. After an incomplete touch with his feet, Salah tried to settle the ball with his head. His arms caught in a triangle with Ramos, who stretched his left leg across Salah. Ramos found a sliver of the ball, but more of Salah, and the two began tumbling to the ground. In that moment, everything was still possible. The game was scoreless. Nobody was hurt. After one of the great goal-scoring campaigns in football history, Salah was still the object of wildest imaginations, a possible winner of the Ballon d'Or. The weight he carried was that of the most optimistic projections. There was only hope. If Liverpool could have sold him in that instant, they should have. That was Salah, the stock, at peak value. He will never be worth more than he was then. The article continues, and then he writes another thing. It was never to be. Watching Salah play for Egypt rather than Liverpool is like watching a river try to find its way around a new dam. Jesus Christ. Liverpool's attack is difficult to counter because it's so balanced and broad. Together, Klopp's front three scored more goals than any other front three in Champions League history. 30, two better than Real Madrid's Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and
oh my god,
and, fuck you, and Gareth Bale in 2013-14. I'm sorry, there's a billion soccer players, guys. And Gareth Bale in 2013-14. Salah scored 10 of them. Firmino scored 10. Mane, who netted Liverpool's lone goal in the final, scored 10. Mane? What? Come on.
Respect on his name.
Mane, who netted Liverpool's lone goal in the final, scored 10. Man, I love American football, guys. Salah's season-long goal-scoring numbers separated him from his teammates. Nobody was talking about paying 9 figures for Firmino or Mane, but they are 3 tributaries of a whole. There's a good case to be made that Firmino, not Salah, is the real force. What a dickhead. What is the real force among them? With Egypt, Salah is a solitary concern. Take away Salah, and the river is stopped at its source.
I can't even listen to one more second. I'm so mad right now.
Just go ahead. Just
there are a few more paragraphs packed, and then we get to the Russians had also scored before Salah managed his one. For once, his goal wouldn't prove the difference. It wouldn't mask the holes in his contribution, his inaction, his softness.
Oh, God.
It had taken Egypt 28 years to reach the World Cup and 6 days to be all but eliminated from it. Great players like Ronaldo, that cold night in Zurich, write their own endings. Salah accepted the end he was given. Salah finished the game with his head down. He was looking at his boots when the whistle blew. He made quickly for the exit, brushing past the commiserating hands of his coaches and teammates. If there were more tears to come from his eyes, they would be private. Jose Mourinho had it right. Football has always been a question of heart.
God.
Even I know that. Even I know that's an unbelievably dickhead thing. Okay. This time, Mohamed Salah's heart didn't seem broken. His heart, like him, like Egypt, was gone.
What?
Pretty goddamn goofy. I actually just kind of breezed it over a little bit when I put it in the document. It's even more fucked than I thought.
It's so bad.
Pretty goofy.
So bad.
So tell me 2 things. Why didn't Salah's team make the knockout? Was it actually Salah's fault? Was it a result of his profound deficiency of character and inherent softness? Or was it the fact that he plays for Egypt? And why do Americans insist on trying to write about soccer with this degree of pretension? And when will Chris Jones get fired? And when will I get his job? Spike, you first.
Okay, so Salah scored Egypt's only 2 goals in the World Cup, despite the fact he was coming back from a separated shoulder that was bad enough that he couldn't take the pitch for the first match. So I don't think it's his fault that the team lost and failed to advance in this World Cup. Not only, okay, so there's a bit in this article that you didn't read that says only 6 of Salah's goals came from outside the 18-yard box this season. The idea that you would say only 6 goals a guy scored came from outside the 18-yard box in a single season is like being like only 6 of Steph Curry's threes in that game came from outside of 40 feet.
Can we just pause for a second? 18 yards?
Yeah.
Yards.
I would like to see stats on how many goals in total are scored from within the box. I would imagine that most of them are scored from within the box. Like, what a dumbass.
It's so infuriating. It's so beyond infuriating. And the other thing that kills me about this piece is the
yards
thing he
like
says.
Football yards.
So Corbin.
Yeah?
There's a box on the soccer field that is 18 yards away from the goal. It is the penalty box. Soccer, the rules of soccer were developed in England, a country that uses yards. Are you mad that it's not meters? What's happening?
No, it's just so much space that Chris Jones is complaining about.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he's dropping bombs. He hit 6 what? Like if you watch Salah's goals this year, he is not a tap-in merchant. If anybody on the team is a tap-in merchant, it's Firmino, and I love Roberto Firmino. And it kills me that I have to disagree with a piece that is hyping up Firmino as maybe the most important player on Liverpool.
But I just want to clarify one more time: 54 feet.
Yeah. Only 6 of his goals came from there this year.
Huh.
He only scored 6 goals from that distance this season. Only.
How many teams do EPL teams play? How many games do they play?
10? Wait, how many games do they play?
Liverpool played around 54, I think, in all competitions this year.
So he scored one of those outside that amount of space every 6 games or so.
Yeah, he scored a goal almost every game this year, and he had over
2 goals every 3 games in the English Premier League, and then in the Champions League he scored more than that. But
yeah,
in league play, yeah.
He broke the record for most goals scored in a 38-game EPL season that was co-held by Cristiano Ronaldo and Luis Suarez. Mohamed Salah is real good. But okay, so we got to that's all true. And this is so stupid. But when you asked about why Chris Jones writes like this, and the reason that Americans can't write about soccer, specifically Chris Jones can't write about soccer,
God damn,
is he wants to write about it as if the sport itself is a manifestation of capitalism. As if the only way you could enjoy soccer is the way you would enjoy watching Shark Tank and jerking off to Mark Cuban buying 2% of a fucking oven mitt company. Like, soccer is beautiful, and Mohamed Salah plays the game beautifully, and he plays it better in Jurgen Klopp's system than he would play it in anybody else's system, which is why this article is so fucking stupid. Salah is not as valuable for other teams as he is for Liverpool. Now, what Jones is saying is that means they should sell him and screw Real Madrid out of 30 million euros of implied money that they can go reinvest in I don't know who, because they can't just replace Mohamed Salah because he's uniquely great at playing in Jurgen Klopp's system. So the circular logic breaks down, but the logic to even go to that logical place in the first place requires just a warped American mentality around what is good, and it's infuriating. Speaking about what is good, I'm going to cite the Gawker piece written in 2012. Esquire writer to wife. Please start fucking better. Written by John Cook about Chris Jones, who in Esquire, where he was at the time, wrote a piece that asked the question, why won't women fuck me better? The title of which was, Ladies, You're Not As Good As You Think. But at that point...
That was him!
Yep! And at that point, he had been married for 9 years. Yeah, so he was just subtweeting his wife's sexual prowess in Esquire.
It should be also noted that he was actually subtweeting his own sexual prowess.
Oh boy. Oh, Corbin, don't defend him.
No. He was doing it by he was doing it by accident.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. 100% it's about how bad he is in bed.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Okay. Oh, 100%. 100%. Chris Jones is
just having been a man who, not to brag or anything, has had sex before. It really, a lot of it depends on what you bring to it. So,
can I read a quote from that article though before I hand the mic over to my fellow Liverpool fan? Sex is not like pizza. Only blowjobs are. Hey-o! Chris Jones, everybody. 2-time National Magazine Award winner, Chris Jones. Stay away from everything. Give Corbin your job at ESPN FC specifically. I want Corbin writing about soccer.
Thank you. I'll say things like, he kicked the ball good.
Yeah, why is he obfuscating like that? Like when he describes the way Salah fell to the ground, he makes it more confusing than it would be to just see a picture of. Like, he uses words to confuse an image that over 1 billion people have seen. Like, it's the opposite of what writing should be. God, just furious. And he defended Firmino, and I have to still attack him. And I'm sorry. Go, please. Someone else talk.
Okay. Yes.
One second, Emily. We award points on this show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My bad.
That was a 5-point take. I mean, just by dint of its length, honestly. All right, Emily.
Yeah, okay, first of all, Chris Jones can choke, and, I'm going to say it here because if I say it on Twitter, probably going to get banned by a bunch of narcs, but, yeah, okay, so first of all, basically Chris Jones' argument is Liverpool should have done a short sell on Salah. He's not a stock. I mean, yeah, it's like you said, even if you accept this garbage framework, a player's value is contextual, and, okay, and also, Salah is not fully recovered. Nowhere in his account of Egypt's performance in the World Cup does he mention that Salah was injured and not fully recovered. And in his account of the Champions League final, he kind of obfuscates the fact that Sergio Ramos, put him in a mixed martial arts arm lock, basically.
Yes!
Yeah, and honestly, if we were to have Salah's well-being generally in mind, he probably shouldn't have been played. He probably wasn't ready to play. He seemed very green around the gills in his game against Russia. Obviously, he wants to play because he's passionate about the game, but not up to it. He was just not up to it, and he still scored 2 goals. Regarding Salah at Liverpool, yes, duh, he plays better when paired with 2 other players with whom he has chemistry. Are you dumb? I mean, he scores from up close, okay? Some of the time, as we said, that's not really, it's not as damning as Chris Jones thinks it is. But how did he get up close? I mean, he's really able to to get the ball up close and dribble.
That's
and
hard.
To danger. Yeah, not only did he get 34 goals in league play, but he also got 11 assists. So he's a man who looks out for his teammates. Also, yeah. So Egypt underperformed. Egypt were underperforming around Salah, but you can't really, I don't think you can really quantify the just gutting psychological blow that it is if you have your best player, but he's injured and he's not kind of up to his usual form. If you're going to be dependent on him, this is kind of what some people have argued, is the reason Argentina was kind of floundering in its first 2 games, because Messi was there, but he wasn't really on it. And people were relying on him to the extent that they weren't creating plays on their own. And they were kind of, psychologically relying on him to do that. So yeah, basically, Chris Jones is a fucking hack. I just want to reiterate that a player's not a stock, and it's really unfortunate that you would compare that you would so brazenly compare a player to chattel, basically. It's beyond offensive. It's beyond capitalist and dumb. And, I just hope Salah gets better and proves him wrong, because I don't think he's a flash in the pan.
Let's go 5.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of good
Can
things.
I say one more thing on this before we move on?
Of course you can, Spike.
Which I'm just going to put it in basketball terms for you, Corbin. This would be writing this article after the 2015 season about Steph Curry and being because he plays with Draymond and Klay Thompson, he's probably not that great. You should probably get rid of him. He's never going to be better than this. And which is to say that Chris Jones's take is so stupid, even Joe LaCobe and the goddamn tech bros who run Golden State, or wannabe tech bros, the old men who think they're tech bros who run Golden State, wouldn't even consider doing anything as stupid as what Chris Jones is proposing in this article.
Tech uncles, you might even go as far to say.
Okay, you see, this is kind of why I don't want I don't want too many Americans writing about the World Cup, because I think the U.S. media ecosystem has seized upon the World Cup because they realize there's an appetite for content. and they're doing this content in the most like shitty US media take machine way imaginable. And this is exactly what this is part of. It's like, this shitty dumbass counterintuitive take, like, what the New York Times opinion page publishes.
It's interesting you mention sort of thinking about players as stocks. Like, I want to make it clear that I like a lot of baseball writing, but like, basically since Bill James is probably the best baseball writer who ever lived, like his trickle down effect on the sport has been to think about players in terms like that. You know what I mean? And I think that's sort of bled out into writing at large. I mean, I feel like this is being a little narrow because there are things about Bill James in particular and a lot of his disciples as well that are, I think, truly wonderful. And I think that the best American sports writers are really good at sort of fusing those things together, sort of an understanding of poetry and culture along with sort of an understanding of value type stuff. But like, Chris Jones is bad at it. Chris Jones is somehow bad at the quantification part and also the poetry part at the same time.
Two-time National Magazine Award winner, Chris Jones.
Yeah, sorry, I'll show a little goddamn respect, I suppose.
Can I just add one more thing about like
no, yeah, of course.
Well, just I think there's an extra layer of like problems here because like when we're talking about players like as commodities, because like a large number of athletes like both in U.S. sports and in soccer are of African descent, and like they're being like bought and sold. Obviously, like obviously they are they're free and like they're making a lot of money, but like the way that Chris Jones talks about this is like has like a lot of like racist overtones, I feel like, and it can there can often be like kind of uncomfortable implications to this, and Chris Jones leaned all the way into it, and so fuck him for that.
Very woke take. Next question. Please explain World Cup knockout round seeding to me. It seems dumb. Is it? Emily.
You mean the seeding part, like
after group rounds?
After group rounds. I mean, I don't know. I think it's probably fine. I don't have like that much of an opinion on this. I mean, I guess like it's the same principle as with any kind of seeding. You don't want like the best two teams to knock each other out in the round of 16. So I don't know. I think it's probably fine.
I'm gonna go 1 point on that one. Spike.
Yeah. It's probably. Hey, Corbin. It's probably fine.
All right. It's cool. Take it back. 1 point for Spike too. Never mind.
There we.
Cool. It's fine. All right. My bad.
Yeah, man. You fucked up. You walked into the Viper's den and got two people to be like, "Yeah, it's fine. What's wrong with you?"
Whatever. Who cares? 1 sec. Let me pull up our group leaders real quick.
Do Vipers end up in dens? I think they go to nests. It's a Viper's nest.
Yeah, that sounds correct to me. I mean, sometimes when they want to listen to records, they'll go in the den.
Oh boy! Oh, fuck.
Like a nice finished basement of Vipers.
Yeah. A nice finished basement of Vipers. All right, here we go. It's time for a speed round. You may or may not know how this works, which is to say you don't. What we're going to do is that we're going to go through every group and we're going to name the group leader. And I want one very brief definitive take on the group leader. A good take will be worth 1 point. A hot take will be worth 3. Do we all understand?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Group A. Their leader is Uruguay. Spike, you first.
My take on this is Cavani is he's like pretty good, but at the World Cup, he is the worst at like missing sitters. And so to go off of my take earlier about Saurez, he's going to bite Pepe. He's going to get ejected. They're going to be down to 10 men. Cavani is still going to have a chance to win it, and he's going to sky it 20 rows deep.
1 point, even though I didn't understand it. Emily.
I think Uruguay are fine. I think that it's I think a nice like counterintuitive team for people to root for because they're a Latin American team that's not Brazil and Argentina. But they had like a pretty easy group. They had Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and then like Russia, who yes they were doping, but like they don't have the that doesn't give them the ability to play better like intellectually. So I think they're probably not going to, make it that far unless they raise the level of play.
1 point. Group B, our leader is Spain. Emily, offer a Spain take.
My Spain take is that Morocco got robbed. My Spain take. I think it's fine. I think I was kind of annoyed by how, obviously they're at the origin of like the tiki-taka style, and now Fox Sports is like counting the number of passes made by like different teams as like one of the metrics that they show during the game. And it's like, that's purely a question of style and not a question. And it's not like objectively a metric of quality, obviously, because Spain drew with Portugal, they drew with Morocco. And so, I think they're a little overrated. I love Iniesta, obviously. But I think they're fine.
No points. Spike.
I think Spain is hilarious right now because they have arguably the best goalkeeper in the world in David De Gea, a player who has single-handedly kept Manchester United relevant through a series of fail-son managers in the post-Alex Ferguson era, including Jose Mourinho. He is the only thing that keeps them going. Yet when he puts on the Spanish national team jersey, he's good for like 2 howlers a week. And I think it's hilarious that he might be broken if they don't do well in the next week. And I really want that to happen. I want David De Gea. I want this to be his Waterloo because he's young, he's very good, and I'm sick of his shit.
Spicy. 3 points, Spike. Group C, France is our leader. Spike, give me a France take.
Yeah, I think France, it's still funny to me that, like, we don't talk enough about the fact that Karim Benzema, like, sex blackmailed, oh my God, what's his name? The little dude. Balbuena. And neither of them is on the team anymore, and we're all just fine with that. Like, France doesn't roll with arguably their best striker because of the fact that he sex blackmailed his own national team teammate, but they also don't roll with him either. And and instead they roll out Olivier Giroud and the racist from Atletico Madrid, Griezmann, neither of whom is the pure goal scorer that Benzema is. Benzema will be a great option for them off the bench, and they can't use him because of sex blackmail.
Two things. Olivier Giroud is the most out-of-control fat French actor name I've ever heard. Two.
He's good-looking, dude. He is a good-looking dude. Just
citation needed.
Can you explain the sex blackmail to me very briefly?
I can explain, or you go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go for it.
All right, so Mathieu Valbuena, who was on the French national team with Benzema, but also on the Olympique Lyonnais, like the club team, with him. So he had a sex tape, and someone had like gotten a hold of his sex tape and tried to blackmail him. And then, so it's not actually as black and white as Spike is making it out to be. Like, no, basically, like,
you gotta hear both sides on the sex blackmail.
No, but like Benzema's responsibility in it is not conclusively like really proven. It's not that clear. So yeah, basically like one of the blackmailers like happened to know Benzema from around because Benzema grew up in Lyon. And so like it seems like, he tried to like get to like Benzema to be a go-between. Benzema was like, heard, a recording leaked basically of Benzema's conversation with Valbuena on the phone being like, are you sure? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to pay? Like, I mean, if like, I don't think you necessarily have to pay, but if you're not going to pay the blackmailer, then like, like just prepare, like, prepare your family for that. Like, it's kind of, it's up to you. Like, I just don't think that it's like that black and white that he was like an accessory to blackmail, and a court found him not guilty of anything, which, obviously that doesn't mean he had no responsibility of it, but I think he was just like kind of dumb rather than malevolent. And honestly, I think part of the reason that Benzema is not on the team is also because like Deschamps doesn't like Algerians, and because Benzema doesn't sing the national anthem, and people were like really, people were really salty about that.
Do sports fans care about that? I haven't noticed.
What?
Does that agitate sports fans? I haven't heard.
Only if an Algerian does it. Because honestly, Platini didn't sing the national anthem either, and nobody gave a shit. So, there's that.
Yeah, Emily, I'm just going to count that as a take and give you 1 point.
Yeah, thank you.
Group D, our leader is Croatia. Emily, Croatia take, please.
Yeah, I really like Croatia. I feel like, people said, "Oh my God, Nigeria are really like crashing out of this group. They lost to Croatia," and actually, it turns out Croatia is incredible. They have like one of the best midfields in the entire world. They all look kind of the same, but that's fine. That's not what they're not on the field to look good. And of all the teams from former Yugoslavia, like, that are in this World Cup, they're the least problematic. So shout out to them.
I had, 2 point take, Emily.
Thank you.
Spike, please dish a Croatia take.
Well, first of all, I'll say that if the least problematic of the teams is the one that recently had their fans etch a swastika onto the pitch before a match.
What?
Yeah, right? Yeah, Croatia, I'm like 99% sure. Yeah, the Croatian fans back in 2015 etched a swastika onto the pitch before their match against Italy in Euro qualifying.
What the fuck is with European sports fans?
They're European.
So,
I mean, I guess I shouldn't be saying that. Fucking Colin Kaepernick got Donald Trump elected. So
yeah. Well, I just want to be fair. They are still better than Serbia. So, credit where credit is due. Oh, okay, so my take on that's just the beginning of the take on Croatia. My take on Croatia is they were really good last World Cup and should have beaten Brazil, but they played like this elderly talismanic goalkeeper who was not good. And he had like 4 howlers in the first match against Brazil, and they just collapsed and fell apart.
The howler? That's where you jerk off on the pitch, right? And
yeah,
go,
like
ow!
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry I told that joke with you here, Emily.
Oh boy. Well, but I just want to say that, like, since they brought Subasic in, they're really good on all their lines. They've got really good players up and down the pitch. And if there is a team that's going to be a surprise semifinalist, I think they're the one.
Sure, whatever. 1 point. I don't know. Kind of stopped listening.
Oh man, I brought up swastikas.
I know. I had to make a really gross joke though.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Is everyone okay with the gross joke I made? Do I have to cut it out?
Yeah, I guess.
You guess? Feels like you're not okay.
Don't worry about it.
It feels like you're not okay.
Oh no! Don't worry about
it. Group E, our leader is Brazil. Spike.
Yeah. Should we talk? I talked for Mino last time we were on here. Neymar is a coward, and I don't care for him anymore. That's my take on Brazil.
1 point. Excellent. 1 point.
Damn, that was going to be my take.
What's your take, Emily?
My take is that Marcelo is extremely cool, and so a funny story about Marcelo is that he was on the national team, and then he got booted off it for showing up drunk to practice, and then he was so good that he was brought back on the national team again. And you just gotta love that. Like, he has that much sauce. So, I want to see him be happy.
1 point.
Yeah.
Group F, your group leader, It's America's team, baby. It's motherfucking Mexico. Ow, ow, ow. Emily, what's your Mexico take?
My take is that like Mexico is maybe gonna go all the way. They're like, of all of the teams that I've seen, like they're the only ones that really are playing like they give a damn at this point of all like the big teams, because I consider Mexico a big team.
Hell yeah. Goddamn right they are.
Yeah, no, they're playing like they give a damn, and they're like a very lovable team. You have Chicharito, who just because he's actually kind of like soccer royalty. His father and his grandfather were both like major players in their days, and I just think they deserve to go really far. They have like it's said that they have this curse that like they get knocked out in the round of in the round of 16. And, maybe this is the day, this is the year that they break the curse. I want that for them.
Hell yeah, 3 points. Spike, Mexico take.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same side of this one. And I'll just spread it out a little bit. A lot of these matches have sucked, and a lot of the football in this World Cup has sucked. Like, even though there's been, like, a lot of goals and it's been, like, kind of dramatic recently, there's been a lot of low-quality football played in that teams have not been executing their style well. Except with the exceptions have been, like, Belgium, and their style is we happen to have 6 good players right now, which isn't really a style. And Mexico and then the next group leader are the only 2 sides that have been executing their style at a high level, and the next group leader is got some issues of their own and some cursed history of their own. So yeah, why not Mexico? And also fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, fuck him. Not a fan.
Yeah.
I was watching a old basketball game today, an old Rockets Spurs game, and they very briefly did a bit where Donald Trump who was in attendance at the game for some reason, was operating a camera.
Gross.
And it was from like 1995 or whatever, and
it still wasn't okay then.
And it was a game Hakeem was playing in, so it was weird to see a guy who someday would have wanted Hakeem Olajuwon to never come to America.
Yeah,
piece of shit. Not a fan of this Donald Trump fella, guys. Group G. It says England is leading the group.
Did I get points or no?
Yeah, I gave you 2 or 3. I don't fucking remember. Group G, it says England, but it looks like they have the exact same stats as Belgium. So, I don't know. Spike, Group G, England and or Belgium?
Yeah, I think this England team is really good, and I'm sick to death of English media like getting on Raheem Sterling for anything he does. Like,
yes, thank you.
Whoa, wait, you're telling me that there's a European media that doesn't like a guy named Raheem?
Yeah. If Raheem Sterling doesn't score for 7 minutes, the English media, you'll never guess what they trot out. It's certainly, you'd be shocked to hear that what they trot out is that he spends too much on his cars and home.
No.
I remember when he signed with City, it was like he just bought a $3 million house. And I'm like, I live in Los Angeles. A $3 million house is like a 4-bedroom.
Yeah,
here.
he's like way richer than that, isn't he?
Yes,
you said $3 million house, and I was like, that's it?
Yeah, it's totally.
If anything, the offensive thing
Sterling.
about owning a $3 million house is that you didn't invest enough in your house.
Yeah, hey, Corbin, we're not all as wealthy as the Smith dynasty that you are
Pardon me.
This fail son of.
Hey!
But I just want to say there was a lot of talk
Fail
about
son.
benching Raheem Sterling after their first match, where by expected goals they outscored their opponent by 2.9. They had the best match of the first round. They were going to bench their best attacking player, and then they didn't do it. And look, they were awesome again. So I think England's good, and I think England media is idiotic.
1 point. Emily.
Yeah, I think okay, regarding England, they've been kind of like, this team has been kind of sold as like, they have great chemistry or whatever, but not one of them has really given a full-throated defense of Raheem Sterling, in the face of like this bullshit media onslaught against him. So, not sure about that. I like Belgium. Eden Hazard is like, I think that he's like such a rare and precious player because, in a game where mostly things are pretty formatted these days.
Hazard, that's the abused donkey player, correct?
He's not a donkey. He's kind of cute.
Well, so okay. Continue. That's a joke for literally no one.
Okay, sorry.
Shout out to David Raposa, who probably got that joke.
Oh boy!
Wow,
Corbin.
Okay. But yeah, so Eden Hazard, in a game where like everything is like pretty formatted, like everything is like either tiki-taka or just like kind of like moving the ball like back and forth like on a grid or whatever. He just kind of like goes all over the field. He just like rambles all around, like dribbles 5 people. Like he does everything that you really shouldn't be doing at that level because it's like kind of foolish. Like usually a lot of people try to do that and fail, but he just does it and it's beautiful. I love him.
I think the donkey's name is Balthazar, so I think I might have made a little mistake on that one. 2 points, Emily. Group H, your group leader is the land of the rising sun, Japan. Emily.
Wait, Japan is the group leader?
Senegal is tied with Japan.
Oh, pardon me. Senegal is tied with Japan. Oh, yep. Pardon me. My bad. Senegal and or Japan.
Okay. So it's my turn?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Senegal, they boast Sadio Mane, who we've been talking about, who is he's a really great number 10 and a really great captain because he's kind of self-effacing, even though he he creates plays and everything. He mostly helps other players along to create plays. And he plays like a really strong role in hyping his team up and
giving them
and directing them.
hugs.
But he has a self-effacing kind of leadership that I really like. Obviously the Senegalese team is incredibly lovable. There's lots to love about them. Their name, the Lions of Teranga, is great. Teranga means hospitality or welcome. So that's a wonderful thing. And I would love to see them eliminate a bunch of European teams, just knock them down.
And then being like, hey, it's all right, it happens afterwards. Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I love, nobody loves gentle sport more than Corbin, so I'm going to give that a 3-pointer. Spike Friedman, Japan or Senegal.
So the Japanese team's sort of schmedium. So Senegal, it's basically watching Sadio Mane on Liverpool. Again, I make the Klay Thompson comparison with him. This would be like if the Warriors just sent Klay Thompson to the Nets and it worked for the Nets. Like suddenly he was the focal point of everything and it worked and he was going for 40 and 10 every night and was lovable doing it. It's very strange. Also, their manager just looks dope as hell and has been so exciting to watch. Great dreadlocks, just good personality. So there's nothing not to love there. Also, they fuck Poland, and fuck Poland for trying to game the FIFA system to get into a weak group, which they successfully did, and then they lost their first 2 matches and are fully eliminated from the World Cup. So fuck Poland. Japan's medium. Hopefully Colombia is the other team to get out of that group. But Senegal, dope as hell. Imagine the Brooklyn Nets with Klay Thompson being the 3 seed in the East and then winning some games.
That's the team you just described for me is one that I loathe, but I still respect the take anyway. 2 points. Last round is lightning round number 2. Emily submitted some questions from her soccer group DM. You will answer them now. Question 1 from @Dishoom. Who's Dishoom? Do we not know who's Dishoom, Emily?
Oh, his name is Pratik.
Okay, cool. Pratik. He says, I have a philosophical cue about how we should value wokeness as a feature of players or teams when deciding rooting interest, especially when you're not bound by your nationality and such, most recently evidenced by Tides turning against Mo Salah. Emily, answer this question.
I'm going to explain the thing about Mo Salah first. So the Egyptian team was hosted in Grozny, Chechnya, which is ruled by a pretty evil dictator named Ramzan Kadyrov, who tortures gay people. And And so like, Kadyrov like very obviously was like trying to use the Egyptian team, but more specifically Salah, just him as a PR opportunity. And it seemed like, the Egyptian Federation were like making him like comply with that. But also like, I don't know, it's not like he's spoken up about LGBT issues like in the past. So, I mean, basically like the fact that he like allowed himself to be used in that way is like kind of a problem. All right. And so, I think you should root for whoever you want to root for, but like, yeah, some people do use like who they're rooting for as a way to seem like enlightened and progressive, and that's just like, I don't know. I feel like that just like betrays ignorance, because like how much do you know about this country that you're all in for, especially if you're like an American? I mean, excuse me,
you root for I don't
much.
know, Mexico theoretically. I don't know.
I don't know, that's different. Like, I don't think that's what you're doing, Corbin.
Oh,
because,
thank
like,
you.
You're, like, America's Mexico adjacent. Like, it seems like you've been following them for a long time. But, like, sometimes...
Emily, I want to make this 100% clear. I have not been following them for a long time.
Well, okay, but, like, you're also not using this to see, to try to seem woke. And,
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I actually mostly root for Mexico because I loathe the USMNT.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly legitimate. But, I think if you want to use, your support of a team to try to seem woke, you should be able to name, like, some key political or cultural figures from that country without Googling. And, if you can do that, I mean, that's fine. But if you can't, what are you doing?
2 points, Emily. Spike.
Yeah, I think if you don't already have a rooting interest, it should be a factor. For me, this has been a real bummer. Again, Liverpool fan. Salah, in my mind this year, was sort of the anti-Suarez, and that, like, I didn't have to apologize for loving him as he destroyed the world on my behalf. And now I'm like, do I? And in fact, it was quite the opposite. He was building bridges between, like, hateful, ugly British people and like Arabs who they were previously persecuting, but they're like, nah, they're all right now. They're banging in the goals, and so that's maybe undone, and I hate that. So and it's also happened with my football team where they got rid of the wokest player on the team on like a fire sale with Michael Bennett being traded away from the Seahawks.
And then they had Jordan Peterson speak.
You're never going to stop reminding me of that. Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is either you're locked into a team and you're either in hell or not at any given moment, but given the way the world's going, you're probably living in hell. And if you don't have an alliance, you should already have an alliance. I mean, how old are you? Like, what? I don't know. Like, be a goddamn grown-up and have already picked
Be a grown-up and pick a sports team to root for?
But if you haven't, root for the one with the fewer homophobes on it every time. Come on.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the prospect of rooting for Iran?
I grew up in LA. I was surrounded by Iran fans. People who, like, I had a bunch of Iranian friends growing up who rooted for Iran against America.
Because it's a pretty heinous government, but also it's the enemy of our heinous government.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. And also, Iran has like been done so dirty by like much of the world, including our heinous government. Like the coup in 1953, etc.
Yeah.
So, I feel like in the balance, I would vote for Iran.
But like Saudi Arabia, no way, right?
No, but the thing is, like, if Saudi Arabia was good, I think people would root for them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, people kind of like make arrangements with themselves and like, what's the point of rooting for Saudi Arabia really, unless you're Saudi, because they're not good.
From Paul Moses at Paul Mo Buckets on Twitter. Which two players are most likely to get caught in the heat of the moment and smooch on the field? Spike.
Well, again, I got to go back to Saurez and Pepe. They could very it's going to get dirty and physical and harsh and pain. Like they're like again like. The other option is someone could have to tend to Mascherano's torn anus again if that repeats itself.
Wait, would they kiss the torn anus?
I don't know. Like, who knows how badly it gets? You know, someone's got to fix it. So you never know. But either way, I think it's coming out of that top quadrant of the round of 16.
Lever.
I think during the Senegal-Colombia game, after the match, however it ends, they'll probably have a dance-off, and in the heat of the moment, maybe two of them are going to smooch. That would be cool.
Oh, James and Mane smooching. Hello. Hello.
Emily, you got 1 point. Spike, you got 3. Even I knew that was funny, Spike. Like, from at Buffalo Socialism, who is a person who's on Mike Dicta, which is like my favorite podcast.
Oh, such a good podcast.
I just want to say, I love Mike Dicta.
It's my second favorite podcast behind Podcast The Ride. Shout out to Podcast The Ride. T.O.B. is my third. So,
a little low, but okay.
I'm brutally honest.
If they ask, if Iran doesn't win today, why is the World Cup set up to eliminate the hottest teams first? Emily.
Well, the World Cup is set up to benefit the teams that that FIFA wants to win, like the big European teams. And I feel like the big European teams are like people we've already seen before. We're like, okay, yeah, you whatever, people who are already kind of oversaturated by if we follow soccer. And then in the World Cup you see all these seeing a hot new exchange student from a country that you've never been to, so it's these countries that are considered more obscure, right, that maybe you don't know the players on them. It's oh, this cute new stranger is coming into my life, and then unfortunately at the end of the group stage, a lot of these cuties have to go home. I would put Morocco in this category also.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's part of the structural problems with FIFA that benefits European teams.
Yeah, when I think about FIFA's structural problems, this is definitely the first one that comes to mind. 2 points, Emily. Spike.
Yeah, you saw with Iceland a similar thing happen. They had a really hot guy, and they're gone. But I think the answer, I'm going to give a real answer on this one, which is countries. There's a certain type of country, and I think America is guilty of this. America is most guilty of this. Who try to identify good soccer players based on their bodies, like they're scouting for the NFL or something, and so. Countries that are willing to actually put in the work, grind it out, and put ugly people on the field are going to be better at soccer. I mean, think about the population of Holland, which is goddamn beautiful, and the fact that their best player over the last few years, or last decade, has been Arjen Robben, who looks like he's 57 since he was 22. They found the ugliest Dutch man alive, and we're like, we don't give a shit. He can only dribble with 1 foot, but he's so good with that foot, we're still going to put him on the pitch. So I think it might not even be a conspiracy. I think you got to let the Uggos play if you're going to be a great team.
See, I don't think that's fair because Salah is very good looking.
Yeah, he's very good looking. Yeah, I agree. But Cristiano's good look. It isn't just
in a mannequin kind of way.
Yeah, I mean Cristiano is hideous. I mean, he's a hideous simulacra of a human being.
Yeah, but
he's a homunculus.
Yeah,
but he pops that shirt off.
He's like a golem. Yeah, if you think golems are attractive. He's like a hotness golem.
Saying, you gotta be giving Uggos a chance.
Maybe Iran just doesn't have any Uggos.
It's a beautiful country. 3 point Spike. Eric Gunderson wants to know top 5 most handsome teams. We're gonna reduce that to 3.
Oh God.
Spike.
Iceland was 100% at the top. for me. I mean, did you see that guy with the long hair? Oh man. Woo. Doggy. But they were too white. So, I'm sliding them down to 2. Happens that fast. Oh God. I don't know. Honestly, they're all so good looking is the problem. Let's go. I'm going to go with a weird one. I like Japan. I think Japan's got some really attractive dudes on their team.
Are you kidding? I was going to say that.
Oh, I'm glad. Amazing. I'm glad I'm synced up. And you already said Morocco, so I won't steal that one from you. I only steal the one you didn't say before. So I'm going Japan, Iceland. Hold on, I'm just oh God, no. I'm just crossing countries off as I move across the flats of Germany as an advancing army, just looking for hotties. And I'm gonna dive south, and I'll go Iran 3. Let's go. So let's go Japan, Iceland, and Iran.
Hell yeah, 2 points. Lever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna leave Iran out of this because we already know how hot they are, and so they don't need any extra exposure. Which means I'm going to put Morocco at number 1. The guy who scored a goal against Morocco's first goal against of the tournament, very very handsome guy, Boutayeb, I think his name was. I'm gonna put Brazil in number 2, it's a nice mix of bodies. You got Firmino, Coutinho, Marcelo, a lot of dudes whose names are vowels.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not Marcelo. Okay, that's fine. Cool.
I think Brazil has a certain energy. Maybe it's the cheerleader effect. The problem is the cheerleader effect. You can't really. I think you can't really abstract that, and so then it becomes a problem. And then who was I gonna pick? Oh, Colombia.
Yeah, Colombia is a great choice. Colombia is James and Falcao are both
I gotta say, Emily, even I can tell that Brazil might have been a bit of a stretch, so I'm gonna have to give you 1 point on that one.
Yeah, that's fair. I regretted it once I'd said it.
From at Ellie Chiflek over on Twitter. Where?
Elk.
What?
Chief Elk.
Chief.
It's
that's fun. Isn't online a lot of fun, guys? Where do you stand on the Jesus Firmino debate? Do you think they would be doing much better with Bobby starting? I don't understand this at all. Lever.
So I guess basically they're both. So the number 9 is both an actual number that only one player has, and also a position. A striker, and Gabriel Jesus usually is that for Brazil, but Firmino sometimes is that too. And he's kind of an underrated player. I mean, I understand that Tite has put Firmino in less because he was injured previously, and so he didn't really get that much exposure on the Brazilian team. But I think in the Premier League, he plays for Liverpool. He's played more than Jesus, and he's scored more goals and had more assists, and he's a very versatile player. I mean, he can tap it in when required to tap it in, but he is amazing at assists, and on a team with so many strikers, you know what I mean? Maybe what you need is someone who can deliver a lot of assists as a number 9. So yes, Firmino should be the one.
1 point, Spike.
This is what I yelled about last time I was on the podcast, Corbin. You should recognize
it. I remember now.
Yeah, this is it. I said Firmino.
Yeah, that was a really good take.
Yeah, he's the most betrayed player in the World Cup by his country because he is, in addition to assists, which he is great at, in addition to scoring goals, which he's also great at, he's the best forward in the world at turning over other teams. Given the qualities that the other Brazilians have, when you've got someone right now, Brazil is dropping Neymar way too deep. He's having to do way too much, and then he's sulking when it doesn't work and looking like an idiot and making me hate him every match. If you have Firmino with you, Firmino can do that dropping deep, turn the other team over, give Neymar the ball in space, and then he'll make that run and be a target in the box for him. He fits better onto that Brazilian side. He's a much more pragmatic player. And I hate to get on Chris Jones's team on this, but he is as valuable to Liverpool as Salah, even if he's not as talented. But all that to say, that's compared to Gabriel Jesus. The question I believe you asked was compared to Jesus, who's better, Firmino or Jesus? And my answer, have you seen Firmino's teeth? It's definitely Firmino. Jesus probably had shitty teeth. That was like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, he probably did.
So Firmino over Jesus, Firmino over Jesus.
Fair enough. 2-point take on there, Spike. At VJVmu wants to know, what is the ideal formation for France to play? Spike.
I don't care. Like 4-3-3 probably.
Cool. Emily?
Yeah, a formation that doesn't include like a dude who did blackface and a domestic abuser.
Yeah, Emily's take was much better than Spike's 3 points. From Francis R. Drew Jr. at Ben Thrifty over on Twitter. What's the most aesthetically pleasing style of any of the World Cup teams, and who do you hope gets a leap in recognition when this is all done? Emily?
I think Mexico. I'm not trying to butter you up here, but they're playing like in their style and they're doing it really well, and like they actually they're actually playing for their lives, which mostly like it's only smaller teams that have been doing that. And so but I don't know if they need necessarily more recognition like in the U.S. I think they are the most popular team to root for in the U.S., but certainly
they are America's team.
Certainly in the rest of the world, I think people only care about like Brazil and Argentina, and like they should care about Mexico because Mexico is going to beat all of their asses.
Hell yeah, 3 points. Spike.
Oh boy, this ain't gonna be popular, but my answer is England. Those pasty white boys and a couple of racially abused good men come together and are playing just beautiful soccer, just creating chances left and right.
Spike.
We talked white quarterbacks earlier. Harry Kane is a real good white quarterback. I think he is a legit. I think, look, he's a Manning brother. If we're calling out strikers for being white quarterbacks, he really can do a lot up front. He's a great goal scorer. He's good at hold up play. He doesn't look. I feel like I hate how a lot of World Cup teams lean on like strikers who are good at hold up play, but then they like suck at moving. Like Harry Kane looks like he would suck at moving. He looks like he would move like Peter Crouch, but he actually moves really well. We talked about Sterling. I love Jordan Henderson in a way that isn't in line with other people, but England's playing that weird 3 at the back thing, and it's totally working, but it also means they're giving up fun goals to the they gave up a damn goal to Tunisia and Panama, so it's like fun.
Down.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said Panama. Continue.
No, that felt like as good a moment to end as any. It's fun. They're fun. Yeah.
So I don't want to give you any points, but it was a pretty good take. Other than like the central thesis of the take.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna give you 1 point, but I want you to know that should have been a 3-point take if it was just about like literally any other team.
Wow, I feel like that's going to cost me. That could cost me the whole thing.
Yeah, well,
but I don't care.
No, I don't know. I think you had a lot of spicier takes than me.
Hey, we'll see at the end. Only one person knows the score. At Morrisonic Podcast, it's a local podcast here about the Portland Timbers. The gentleman who makes that wants to know: is it okay for an American to say kit instead of uniform, pitch instead of field, boots instead of cleats, nil instead of zero? How do you pronounce derby? Spike.
Yeah, of course it's okay. Man, say whatever you want to say. Call them kicky boots. Call them kickers. Call the field grassy land. I don't care, man. Be cool. Don't ask for permission. Beg for forgiveness when I make fun of you later for being an idiot. Come on, man. You're cool.
Emily.
Yeah, I was gonna say as someone who comes from a soccer culture, but it's not Anglophone. I don't really care. I guess you can say that, but yes, you will get made fun of. And, clearly it's because America has no soccer culture of its own, and maybe America will develop its own lingo, and that's fine.
Yeah, hell yeah. Call it a skirt. That's what the field's called. It's a skirt. Let's go out.
Skirt. Yeah.
Watch him play on the skirt. One point. So another question from Morisonic. For all the Americans who are going to be newly excited about soccer after this World Cup, what are the 3 things you would tell them to allow them to successfully transition to MLS fanhood without quitting in disgust? I'm going to start with Spike on this one. I hope that's all right.
Yeah, that's all right.
God, so the question is, so they're going to be excited about soccer, and then the goal is to transition them to MLS fandom.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, that's tough. It's tougher. If you had asked about EPL fan, I'd be like, all right, I can work with you here.
It's on a little early in the morning.
Yeah. So for MLS fandom, thing number 1, be forgiving. They're out there, they're trying hard. Okay, so be cool. It ain't gonna look the way you want it to look. But be nice. They're trying hard. They're your local boys. Give them a round of applause no matter what. Number 2, don't go all the way. Don't ECS or Timbers Army. They're singing the whole match. Go to you don't have to do it all. Maybe go to one match there, but don't go and buy ECS season tickets if you live in Seattle. Just be a normal fan and do some of the chants are really lame and kind of sexist and so, and you don't have to do that. Don't do that right away. And number 3, so this is to get them for are there the way that you become a big club soccer fan at if you're a grown up is finding talent that you love. So find your local MLS team, figure out what makes their second best player good, and get into that. Be oh, he's I don't know, man. You're asking me to help convert someone who loves the World Cup into an MLS fan. Find out what their holding midfielder is good at, and then every time they do it, be "Oh, great tackle, yeah!" And then they'll be good to go. So be forgiving. Don't chant stupid shit just because other people are doing it, and fall in love with your team's second best player.
Emily.
Yeah, I mean, I only have 2 things really. First of all, my first thing is just don't try to transfer over, your loyalties from the World Cup, your enthusiasm for the World Cup into MLS. I mean, it's just it's just not gonna happen. I just don't really see it. I'm sorry. I get that MLS is an easy target, but it's just not gonna happen. Also, you should root for Liga MX instead. That's what I think. And additionally, if you are going to, to be an MLS fan, please do not fall into this trap of imitating the worst of European ultra culture, because ultras are I mean, some of them were neo-Nazis. A lot of them are just hateful people. I mean, you really shouldn't be there's some MLS quote unquote ultras who have been known to do white supremacist stuff. So maybe just don't try to be an ultra at all. Just don't do it.
I worked
not a good look in Europe.
I want to say really quickly that I worked for the Timbers for several years. And I never really had any problems with their weird fake ultras, who were all pretty nice people, and also tended to lean into progressive causes whenever they got the chance.
But that's for that team. Okay. I think what I heard about was for a different team. I forget which one because I do not follow MLS.
Spike, do you know what she's talking about?
Not specifically, but I believe it. And there's plenty of white supremacists in Portland. So
all right, never mind. I also there have been known to be some white supremacists in Portland.
Oregon straight up a state founded on white supremacy.
Okay, all right, we don't need to.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We have two more questions. Our second to last question is from Emily Lever.
Oh.
She wants to know, is the reffing bad or rigged this year? Spike.
Honestly, it's fine.
Or sorry, Emily answered your question. My bad.
Okay, yeah, I think it's rigged. Yeah, I think that, like, you know, there was too much at stake for FIFA to allow Portugal, which has Ronaldo, and, you know, and Argentina, which has Messi, to be eliminated. And the refs had some pretty shaky calls in those, like, you know, in those decisive matches against Iran and Nigeria. And, you know, I mean, I'm not sure if it's, like, racism/Islamophobia or if it's corruption, but, you know, it's not impossible. There is a history, I will say, there is a history of, you know, of like skullduggery to keep teams from the global south from qualifying for the round of 16. In 1982, Austria and Germany deliberately, threw a match in the sense that they played it to a tie to keep Algeria from qualifying into the round of 16. So yeah, it's maybe rigged.
2 points, Spike.
I don't think it's rigged. I really don't. And I mean, look, of all the matches that I've seen, Kunyet Kakir referee, and there have been a lot, and he's made some lunatic calls. That Argentina-Nigeria game, it didn't feel rigged to me. I mean, it could have been more rigged. They could have wiped that penalty off the board. I don't think it's rigged, and I think VAR has gotten better than I feared it would. They've used it less, and when they've used it, they've largely gotten the calls right. I think FIFA is evil, and I think that the World Cup probably shouldn't exist in its current form. I think global celebratory capitalist sports is a pox on our society, but I don't think that this World Cup has shown itself to be rigged as of yet.
1 point. And I have one more question from Corbin Smith himself.
Oh, no.
Is the World Cup better without the United States men's national team? Spike.
Yes.
Emily.
Yeah. I'm gonna elaborate on that. Well, you know, it's better in the U.S. first of all because, like, for those of us who are stuck in the U.S. having to watch it, we don't have to put up with like constant coverage of the U.S. Men's national team in the broadcast. You know, unfortunately, Fox Sports clearly didn't have a contingency plan for that eventuality, and so their coverage has been like pretty superficial and sloppy, and included, you know, a kind of like
Fox Sports doing a bad job broadcasting something. What?
But yeah, I think it's better than if the U.S. were in the World Cup. I prefer a cute little feature on Joseph Stalin than breathless coverage of the U.S. team that is trash and not going to make it very far. 1 point
for each of you, as I recall. That's everything. Yeah, let's count them up real quick. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Your winner in this edition of Take It or Break It, with a score of 45 points to 40 points, is Emily Lever.
Hey.
Wow, what?
Yeah. Yay.
I'm honored.
Yeah, congratulations.
My first loss in the history.
This seems rigged.
This is Spike's first loss, as I recall.
I think I'm like 13-1 now or something.
Yeah, wow, jeez. I'm sorry, Spike. We're gonna retire your number into the rafters.
Hey, I'm grateful. I honestly want to say, couldn't have lost to a better Liverpool fan. The only way I wanted to go down was talking soccer with a fellow Red.
With a fellow.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate it.
A fellow pooler.
Oh, God.
Sure.
Poolers? You guys call each other poolers?
Why you ruin the moment, Corbin?
I don't know. It's my show. I get to do whatever I want.
No.
Do you guys have anything to promote?
I wrote a thing about Tunisia for OK Africa. It's obviously kind of out of date, but it's also about like the Tunisian soccer scene more generally. So So I guess, you can go read that. It's up at OK Africa.
Read that and tell them your Twitter handle, please.
Oh, my Twitter handle is @SnarlesDeGaulle.
Yes, there's a Z at the end of Snarls.
Handle.
No, there's not.
There isn't?
There isn't. Sorry. You're thinking of my previous handle.
Sworn there was. Spike, promote things.
My review of the Incredicoaster will be on tape. I don't care. I'm going to grad school next year, so this is all a lark for me now. It no longer matters.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, thank you. Out of one dying industry and into
A more dying industry.
Into a dying country or whatever. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. We will end today's podcast with a quote from singer, songwriter, and performance artist Yoko Ono. Who will win the World Cup? A child who believes in a peaceful world.